Hey, what's up, guys? How is everybody doing tonight? Hopefully, you're doing real good. I'm back again tonight here with another cigar review. This is from a reputable maker. Some of you may know the name. This is H. Upmann, and this particular cigar here is the Vintage Cameroon. Now, I have never had an H. Upmann before, but they are a pretty well-known name in the industry. More so for being JFK's favorite cigar brand. And of course, history has it that right before he imposed the trade embargo with Cuba, he ordered like a couple thousand boxes of H. Upmann cigars from Cuba, which is where they originated from, before he initiated the embargo. But that H. Upmann was his favorite cigar brand. They have some pretty good sticks out there, as far as I know. Like I said, I've never had one. So, without any further delay, here again, this is the H. Upmann Vintage Cameroon. This cigar, this is the Churchill size. It's a 7x50. It has an aged African Cameroon wrapper. And you see, you can't really see it because that's cedar sleeves. So we'll go ahead and just take that off of there. And of course, the cedar sleeve has a couple of bands on each end of it. This one says H. Upmann Cameroon, and this one just has the H. Upmann logo with the 1844. I don't know if you can see that or not. Anyway, not that important. This is the important part. The wrapper, as I said, is an aged African Cameroon. It's a nice chocolate brown wrapper, some small veins, nice tight seams. The fillers are Nicaraguan, Dominican, and Peruvian, which you don't hear much of, Peruvian tobaccos. And it's all bound in a Nicaraguan binder. So that's the specs on this cigar. Now let's get around to the aromas. Not a lot there, just a little bit of a mild barnyard. Kind of that combination of the manure and the sweet hay smells. And not much else. On the foot, a lot of woodiness. Maybe a little bit of dry cocoa. Not much there either, really. Draw is slightly on the firm side, but nothing terrible. I'm getting a lot of kind of cocoa notes there on the pre-light. Along with some kind of creamy cedar is kind of what I'm getting there. So let's go ahead and toast this thing and get it lit up, and then we'll get into it and see how it turns out. Now, as I said, I have never had an H. Upmann. Well, I take that back. I've had a couple of H. Upmanns in the last week, but up until that point, I had never had an H. Upmann, and this is, of course, my first review of an H. Upmann. I just happened to be in my local B&M and saw these. These are about $5 to $7 a cigar, so they're not an expensive stick. They're pretty affordable. So I have had one of these and I enjoyed it. It had a lot of the woody notes and everything that I tend to enjoy. So I decided on the second one I would do a review on it. So we're going to let you guys know tonight how this cigar is. Again, slightly firm draw, but nothing really, really hard. Really nice, smooth, mellow cocoa. With maybe a little hint of leather there, kind of coming in midway through. And then almost a buttery, almost like the caramel, but not the sweetness of it. Kind of the browned sugar part of it that's kind of coming in on the finish there. I don't know. I'm going to get into this thing a little bit, and I'll tell you definitively what kind of flavors we have. Hang tight, guys. Okay, guys, back again here with the H. Upmann Vintage Cameroon. We're about, I would say 20 minutes into this thing now. You can see the ash is holding on really nice. Nice and solid, firm. Burn is almost flawless. Beautiful construction on this thing. You know, you can tell that by the ash and the burn itself. Performance still slightly on the firm side on the draw. Not a heavy smoker, but it's pretty good. This thing is just pretty mild all the way through. No strength, little to no strength to speak of whatsoever. It's a mild-bodied cigar and pretty mild flavors. A lot of just wood and leather with there's no spice, no pepper, no tingle, none of that. Everything is kind of pretty dry flavors. And by that, I mean, you know, like the flavors without like creaminess or sweetness. Now, I've noticed here in the last few draws coming up on the finish a dry cocoa, which means, of course, that cocoa without the sweetness part of it. If you've ever had any of that powdered cocoa mix and you've taken a taste of that, you know that it's not sweet. Well, that's kind of what I mean. It's kind of just a dry flavor that is all the way across the board so far. So that's basically what I'm getting is just some wood, some leather, and a little bit of that dry cocoa coming in on the finish. Again, mild strength and mild bodied. So I'm going to get on into this thing a little bit farther here and then let you know what we've got at that point. So if we got any changes. Okay, guys, so I just want to talk quickly again about how the ash is holding on this sucker right here. This thing is getting close to 2 inches now. No flaking, nice and solid. Nice white ash, beautiful. It's a sign of beautiful construction. I'm going to go ahead and ash this thing, but I also wanted to mention, just basically to kind of show it off, that I'm, you know, breaking my San Cristobal crystal ashtray here tonight. I've had this thing for a while, but it's kind of set off in a room, not being seen. I was kind of afraid to start using it, but I decided I would use it here tonight. I bought a box of San Cristobal Quintessence in Torpedo when they first came out. That's another great cigar, another mild one if you like those kinds. So go check some of those out, get some of those. They're a good cigar. Anyway, I bought a box of, I think it was 25 or something like that of them, and it came with this ashtray and a $20 gift card, which I've already redeemed the gift card part of it. But anyway, I just wanted to show you this awesome ash and my awesome ashtray. So anyway, I'm going to get back to smoking this thing. Okay, guys, so here we are back again, under an hour on this here H. Upmann Vintage Cameroon. You can see it's still performing beautifully, still burning nice and straight, still nice, beautiful, solid ash. Performance all the way around has just been exceptional all the way across the board. Flavors wise, they've kind of kicked up a little bit, but this cigar is still a pretty mild cigar. It's really still no strength really to speak of. It's still pretty mild body. The flavors, not a whole lot of changes, just a lot of that woody leatheriness. But then there's been kind of a fleeting roasted nuttiness that has kind of come and gone, but the woodiness has kind of really been the base flavor. There was a pepper flavor and slight tingle that also kind of fades in and out, although it's not present right now. And then just a little bit of a coffee note that again is just come up in the last few draws, and it just kind of comes up on the finish, and just as quick as it comes up and you notice it fades away anyway. So you know, again, pretty mild cigar so far. A lot of those mild, dry, woody flavors. Again, no performance issues. The draw is still a bit firm, but it's, you know, not suck the top of your head in, you know, thick milkshake, you know, firm or anything like that. So it's really nothing off-putting. So I'm enjoying this thing so far. I'm going to get on down into the band point and then let you know what kind of changes we get once we get there. Okay, guys, so here we are back again, just getting into the final third of this H. Upmann Vintage Cameroon. It's been a pretty enjoyable smoke so far. It's been pretty mild so far as well, but here in the last half or so, everything kind of ramped up. Strength is still it's pretty mild. The body is built to a mild to medium, and the flavor profile is built to a mild to medium. They just have kind of built it as as the cigar has gone along, which is to be expected. Flavor profile, not many changes. That pepper flavor and tingle, again, is still kind of fading in and out. The coffee built up and became more prevalent, and I'm still just getting a lot of that woodiness and that leather that has returned here in the last third of this thing so far. So it's performing beautifully. Flavor profiles are nice, and I'm enjoying this cigar so far. Construction's beautiful. Everything about this thing is just a really nice cigar. So anyway, I'm going to get down to the tail end of this thing and give you my final thoughts. Later. All right, so here we are on the tail end of this H. Upmann Vintage Cameroon, and it's been an enjoyable cigar throughout. The flavors, the body, the strength have all come up to a good solid medium. There's a little bit of a nicotine buzz there, but nothing any worse than a dip of snuff or smoking a cigarette. If you've never used tobacco before, then it might hurt you, but other than that, it's a pretty mild cigar for regular cigar smokers. The pepper and the coffee kind of ramped up. It wasn't like burn your tongue. It's just kind of the flavor, and it was just a little bit of that tingle, and then the coffee kind of kicked up with that wood kind of fading in and out there. The leather is pretty much gone. There was a little bit of that roasted nuttiness throughout most of it there from the second third on, and it's kind of faded out. So it's kind of turned into a mild peppery coffee type stick. It's really enjoyable stick. I really like it. The draw stayed a little bit firm all the way through, but nothing you can't work with, as an experienced smoker. Still burning beautifully, and I want to brag on the ash. This ash fell off right before I started this last update, and it was a good 1.5 inches long. I've only ashed this cigar 3 times, and this is out of a 7-inch cigar. So in my opinion, that's a sign of a very well constructed cigar if you only have to ash that thing 3 times. You don't want to ash every couple of minutes. It keeps your cherry hot, so you want to keep that ash as long as you can. And this thing holds on even through moving and talking, and there's a couple of times too, this thing, the burn on it's beautiful too. This thing I sat down for a couple of times for maybe 2 minutes and picked it up, and just like that, like I hadn't set it down. So it's performed beautifully. It's got some pretty good flavor and everything. So this is kind of everybody's alley, even a beginner smoker. H. Upmann is a pretty well-known blender anyway. So this has been a pretty good cigar. Like I said, it's pretty inexpensive, $5 to $7 a cigar, online or at a B&M or whatever. So that has been my review of the H. Upmann Vintage Cameroon. And as always, I want to take time to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I just appreciate you guys for watching these videos. By watching my videos that I don't have any high-tech stuff going on. I don't have an intro, I don't have background music, I don't have editing capabilities, I don't have special lighting, I don't have a logo. Everything that you see is recorded as it happens. If I goof up at the very beginning or the very end, I can trim that off, but I can't do any kind of cutting, sound editing, none of that stuff in the middle. So all of those hiccups and all that stuff you see are me. It's real, and I think that's what YouTube has gotten away from in a lot of ways sometimes, is just people get too caught up into the showy aspect of it. And don't get me wrong, there are many YouTubers out there, in the 2 main hobbies that my channel centers or revolves around, tarantulas and cigars. there are many of those YouTubers. I did lots of research before I started smoking cigars or started keeping tarantulas, and I watched lots of these YouTubers' videos, and I was inspired by them, and now I aspire to be like them. But right now, I just don't have the money or the technology, so all I have is just my time and my passion for what I do my videos about. So again, thank you so much for watching these videos. If you like them, please let me know. And we'll just continue to do them, and they'll still be as real as possible. But I just wanted to go ahead and say goodnight to you guys. Go find some of these H. Upmann Vintage Cameroons. They're pretty accessible, pretty inexpensive, pretty enjoyable stick for just about anybody. So, go out there and get you some of them. Thanks for watching. God bless. Good night.